Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that every single day celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such an amazing place to live, work, and play. Hey, we have a great show today. Jake Carter and Christina Carter Burks are going to join me, and we're going to talk about their entrepreneurial efforts in real estate and development, and I'm looking forward to that. I want to share with you first something I kind of ran across the other day, and I think it's really wise, actually. And then I'm going to ask my buddy Kyle Curley to join me here after I share this. But here we go. Bob Marley was once asked if there was a perfect woman. And he replied, "Who cares about perfection? Even the moon is not perfect. It's full of craters. What about the sea? Very beautiful, but very salty and dark in the depths. And what about heaven? Always so infinite. That is, that most beautiful things are not perfect. They are special, and every woman, every man, every human being chooses who is special in his life. Stop trying to be perfect, but better try to be free and live doing what you like without trying to please others." You know, if there's a theme for Coast Vue, certainly community development, all those things that I talk about all the time, but it's this notion that we should always set goals high and try to be the best versions of ourselves, but you know, sometimes people get so wrapped up in that they lose sight of loving themselves and the people around them, and, you know, surrounding themselves with positive people, and then ultimately, you know, enjoying the moment. I talk about that a lot. If there's if there's a theme of Coast Vue, it is that. Live in the moment. You know, don't worry about yesterday. Do the best you can today, and, you know, have a plan for tomorrow, but don't get too focused on it that you lose, you know, the ability to enjoy today. Really good one. Okay, Kyle, how you doing, my friend?
Trying to live for today and not worry about tomorrow.
Of course. Listen, I was trying to remember. I think it was in the beginning of our conversation with Caitlin Perry, Miss Gulf Coast, who's going to be in Miss Mississippi, or was in Miss Mississippi, and you know, at the beginning of that conversation, you and I talked a little bit about a quote that I had read. I can't remember which one it was, but it had something to do with, you know, it also had an indication of living in the moment. And I listened to what you said, and the way you said it was, it's hard to do that with all this negativity around us, you know, what's going on in the world today. But when you bring the focus in, and you think about family and friends in the world just around you. I love the way you said that, Kyle. I thought it was special when we were having the conversation on the show, but when I played it back, I felt like you had a pretty good grasp of that.
Well, yeah, part of what kind of brought me to that was I had just had lunch the day before with my old college roommate. Lives down here. We've been best friends since 1992, 3 or 4, something like that. And I haven't seen him in probably over a year. We usually all get to lunch a couple of times a year, just because everybody's so busy. He's got 3 kids. I've got 2. My other friend Byron's got 5. So we all try to get together for lunch. But when I finally met him for lunch a couple of days ago, standing in line, we haven't seen you. I just reached out, shook his head, said, "Hi, Kyle Curley. I used to be your roommate." So once you filter out everything, and you bring it back into family and friends, you know, you're living for that moment right there, and you're not really trying to plan for what's next. Because you really don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, so you just stay in the moment.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, man. We always get these reminders. I've had a few too many of those kind of reminders recently. But, you know, I love taking a deep breath outside in the morning here in coastal Mississippi and taking it all in. Hey, by the way, Ole Miss beat Southern. Southern had a great run of it and up through the Super Regionals, but now Ole Miss heads to Omaha. And my cousin's grandson is a starting shortstop for Auburn. And, of course, you know, my son Justin went to Auburn. Jordan went to Ole Miss Law School. But because Brandon Moore is a really close family member who's playing shortstop for Auburn, we're going to be all War Eagle in this upcoming game. What about you, my friend?
Train though.
Do what now?
I still can't get on board the War Eagle train.
It's going to be a good game, though, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Actually, a series of games, so it's going to be fun. College World Series is a lot of fun.
College World Series is going to be a good series this year. I'm looking forward to it.
It really is. I think a lot more people are focused on it. Well, listen, man, have a great day, and thank you so much for all you do to support me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. My pleasure.
Hey, one of the things I talk about here on Coast Vue all the time is this notion of entrepreneurship. And, we're lucky that we have so many people here in coastal Mississippi who are literally betting the ranch on their businesses to build a better and stronger business. And I'm so pleased today to have two people that I really admire, Jake Carter and Christina Carter Burks. They're the principals in Century 21, Jake Carter and Company. And I really look forward to not only telling their story, but just kind of getting their sense of what has really been a pretty significant acquisition effort that they've had. They're expanding their company, and the list goes on and on. But we're going to visit and tell their story and admire their entrepreneurship here in coastal Mississippi. So without any further ado, welcome, Christina and Jake. How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Ricky. Thanks for having us.
So where are y'all located right now? I like kind of the scene. For people on radio, you can't see it, but it's a really kind of cool setup that they did. They're actually together in a room. So where are y'all located?
So we were actually going to do this from the office today, but Christina's son had to stay home sick. So I came to her house. We're at her house right now in her dining room.
Oh, good. Well, look, we won't run from this reality, which I think is part of the great story of what you guys are doing.
Right.
Your dad is Rick Carter. Who is part owner, actually co-owner of the Island View and Beachview Hotel and Casinos in Gulfport. They've made tremendous investment in coastal Mississippi and had a lot of success. And in fact, the show that I had with Rick Carter and Terry Green it was like the first week of doing Coast Vue. It's still probably the most viewed show since we started Coast Vue, just because it just caught a lot of people. I mean, it's such a great story of guys who did a lot of things in their lives and finally landed in the right spot, made some tough decisions entrepreneurially. In fact, the story that Rick tells when he went over to Europe and was waiting to see if the loan was approved and was listening to the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy" over and over and over again on his Walkman or whatever. What a great story it was. But it's this great story of success in coastal Mississippi. And you guys chose not to go into the casino business. You started your own real estate business with your brother John and Joel. And I should point out that Joel actually spent some time with me on Coast Vue in the early days of Coast Vue, about a year and a half ago. We talked about his role as Senator Joel Carter and what that's all about. And starting this company with you guys, he was the principal at the time. And when he became senator, he sort of passed it on to you, and you guys have continued to move the company forward, grow the company. It's been an exciting journey for you, hasn't it, Jake?
Oh yeah, it's been unbelievable. It's become way more than what we initially expected. Me and Joel got into the business. Actually, I got into the business in 2013, and Joel got in 2014, 2015, and kind of started J. Carter and Company Real Estate and Development. And boy, it has become more than we ever thought it would. Well, we hoped, but we've grown pretty fast.
Christina, you and Jake, in terms of just running the company and bouncing ideas off of each other, your growth strategy, et cetera, you guys have made a great team, haven't you?
We have, and it's actually really shocking because when we were kids, we really didn't get along very well. But no, I mean, I couldn't imagine. They always say, you shouldn't go into business with your siblings. Well, I couldn't imagine a better business partner than my siblings. It's been a lot of fun, and seeing where we've come since we've started is it's breathtaking. It's awesome.
And your brother John. When I think of John, here's what I think about. When he posts something, like 600 people like it. John is one of the most connected. John probably has more friends than anybody I know, and I don't mean Facebook friends. I just mean friends. Right. He was one of the siblings that was actually worked for a pretty decent amount of time actually at the casino. And he left the casino to actually join you guys selling real estate. So he's been a terrific sibling to have on your team, hasn't he?
John's unbelievable. He's got a personality that I wish I had. I'm more of an introvert when it comes to social interactions. John, he does not meet a stranger.
No.
I mean, you see a lot of people see lately he's on Facebook singing. I can't do that. I just don't. I mean, I'm nervous
you
right now.
You can sing, but you just don't like being on.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm nervous just right now being on this interview. But no, John is he's got the personality for sure.
He does.
Well, Jake's I know Jake pretty well, actually. He's been a longtime friend of my son, Jordan, who we refer to as the fish whisperer. he can catch fish where nobody else can catch fish. But anyway, Jake and Jordan, longtime friends, and Jake has fished with us before. He's hunted with us, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I have to tell you, Jake, I think I actually remember exactly where I was. We were in Mentor City. You were in the truck with me. And I overheard a conversation. And when we come back on the other side, I'm going to tell you about the conversation I overheard.
Uh-oh.
And that's when I said to you, you got to come on and join me on Coast Vue and tell your story. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Christina Carter Burks and Jake Carter. And we're gonna tell the story of entrepreneurship in the real estate realm. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I have my friends Christina Carter Burks and Jake Carter. They're principals in the real estate firm J. Carter and Company, actually Century 21 J. Carter and Company. And it's a great story, not only in what they've done here in coastal Mississippi, but they made an acquisition over into Alabama. And then more recently, they did another acquisition of Century 21 Meyer in Gulf Shores. And the irony is that the woman who owned that company, I worked really closely with in Alabama when I was president publisher of the Press Register in Mobile. And when I led the oil recovery planning efforts for Governor Riley in Alabama, Sheila was on my executive committee. So she is a terrific person, and we'll tell the story of those two acquisitions here in just a second. But what I was teasing, Jake, when we went to break was I overheard you were having a conversation with one of your agents, and there was some difficult issue that you were having to overcome. I think it was a contract on a house, and there was some complications, and I listened to the way you handled the conversation. And when you got off, I don't know if you remember me saying this to you, but I said, look, here's the deal. I have, been publisher and president, CEO of a company for the last 15, 16 years of my life. I've dealt with some serious problems in my time. But I was so impressed with the way you handled that problem and the way you were available and the way you processed it and the way you stayed calm during the conversation. I thought, now that's impressive. I was really, really impressed. And coming out of that, I said, I got to get you guys on Coast Vue and tell your story. But do you remember that?
I do. We were actually riding through a cornfield. I remember we
were at the outside in Mentor City. Yeah.
Went over those bumps, and I was trying to hold the conversation, but it's really simple. And I think in life, period, when you have a problem, if you can just take the emotion out of it and just think it through and run through it, you can solve a whole bunch. And that's what I try to do in real estate as the principal broker, is when I'm talking to the agents, just calm down, take the emotion out, and think about it. And it tends to work out a whole lot. But yeah, I do. What I came to appreciate, and Christine, you know this well from your role, but I came to appreciate sometimes you just have to give people a sounding board and let them talk. And there are no businesses that don't have challenges. And my son Jordan, you know him well. He's a real estate lawyer. There are all, when you're trying to make a real estate deal happen, there's all kinds of things that can enter into it, up into closing that could kill the deal or make the closing so it doesn't work. So you got to be always on your toes. But, there can be, it's emotional for people because usually selling a house or buying a house is a big deal, isn't it, Christina?
It really is. I just went through it not too long ago when I sold my house that I brought my son home to. It was me and Wesley's first house, and it was really emotional. And I unfortunately put some emotion into it, but we got the deal done. But yeah, I mean, every single deal there's something different.
Yeah, it really is. So hey, Jake, coming back to you, when Joel got elected and you became, and Christina working by your side, started to say, okay, what are we going to do with this company? When did you decide that growth was the strategy you were going to chase after?
Man, that was it was fairly quickly. Joel had. I'll tell you the story about how we got with Century 21 real quick. we're J. Carter & Co. Real Estate and Development, and we were not interested in branding. And there was a guy that was blowing Joel's phone up. Joel just kept ignoring. Well, this guy walks into the office one day, and it's like, I want to take y'all to New Jersey. So we fly up there, and those guys are unbelievable. They wowed us. Joel, fast forward, Joel runs for Senate, which he is doing a phenomenal job right now. I mean, chairman of Energy, that's unbelievable. But we sat down, me and Christina, and I was like, it's time to grow. Let's make some decisions. And it was fairly quickly right after that we got Ashley Indris, Mary Phillips, and a few others kind of came in, and boy, it's become one big family. We have a very good group of agents there.
Yeah, it's been fun watching you. I think the key to success, and Christina, you know this better than most, the key to success is you got to have a strong team, don't you?
You absolutely do. And being with, even though Joel's been in the Senate, he does, call in and we bounce stuff off of each other. And it's really, really important to have a force.
Yeah, I know it is. I'm actually having lunch today with Delbert Hoseman. So I'll mention that I had you guys on the show today. He'll be delighted to hear that. Hey, Century 21, it's interesting because I know, my family, my mother was a real estate broker as I was growing up. My dad built houses. That's what he was doing when he passed away in 1979. But the thing is, I've been around real estate all my life. And as you see, just like publishing or any other sector of business, real estate, is also going through a lot of changes. And you get torn between whether you should stay sort of an independent real estate company or whether you should join up with something like Century 21. And I know there's probably good and bad on both sides. It's probably strength and weaknesses are doing it either way. One of the benefits, I bet, of Century 21, though, is when you have this opportunity to travel and meet with other brokers and share best practices and understand what others are doing to succeed. That has to have been a positive, for you, Jake?
Oh, yeah, big time. You couple that with, just the brand recognition globally, really. That brings an element to agent sales that, it's kind of hard to bring as a local independent company. We've been both. We see that. That name brand brings something to it. But getting to travel and meeting with these different brokers all over the country, some of the things that we've implemented as a company are from those meetings. A successful broker in Atlanta kind of helped us with our commission structure and the way that we do things financially. But it's really nice to have that system in place and that core, of brokers around the country.
Christina, would you add anything to that?
I agree 100% with what he says. Century 21 helps us out a lot. And like he said about the guy in Atlanta, there's not a moment in time where we can't pick up the phone and call any broker and globally, for help. They're always willing to help.
Jay, coming back to you, though, as it relates to your acquisitions, and we'll share a little bit about what that's about now. Would you have known about those acquisitions had it not been for Century 21?
Some of them, a lot of the Alabama stuff, no. They brought a lot of that to the table. I would have never met Sheila Hodges or any of the Hodge Properties group. We have two great people that helped us get started over there, Emily Burke and Anthony Kaiser. They really helped us out in Alabama. And
So when you first, so the first sort of entrance into Alabama, what did you do?
Well, we got with a lady named Emily Burke, who's still with us. She actually came over and met with us and expressed her desire to open up a branch. So we went to Foley and found us a lease space and started organically. That was tough. I'm not real sure I'll ever do that again. That was I didn't realize how tough it could be. I'm joking, but I didn't realize how tough it could be to start organically. It's been a long learning experience, but man, it is. We're very proud of what we've got going over there right now. We've had some amazing recent stuff happen, and we're very, very excited.
It's hard. It's hard. Again, you're starting from and to sort of compare that to Meyer Realty, and we'll come back to that in just a second. Where you've got a base in place already, you've got some brand recognition already, obviously. It's hard to start you literally started a business from scratch is what you did.
Yeah, it's exactly what we did. We started, it was Emily Burke and two other people in an office, a 1,200 square foot office in the middle of downtown Foley, which is a beautiful area.
Yeah.
But again, it's just kind of one of those things like when we started with Century 21, had you told me we were going to be over there where we are now 2 years ago, I just don't know that I would have imagined it happening this quick. So a lot of things came together.
How many agents do you have in Foley?
In Foley, we have about 53. So it's not Foley anymore. It's actually Gulf Shores now. But in our period, it's 53.
Yeah, we're equally as big over there as we are here.
Yeah, we have.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, I was just online the other day looking in our 21 online, which is kind of our corporate database, and I saw the number that said 100, and it was right next to how many agents are in the entire company. And I was just like, it just hit me. I was like, wow, that.
Okay, so when you guys started running the company back when Joel got elected senator, how many agents were in the company then?
I think there was
12, 13, I think. Yeah.
It was somewhere around 20ish.
She's way better.
Yeah. Listen, what's interesting about that? I mean, this goes to show that in most businesses, if you're not growing, you're probably going to be shrinking. You never arrive. There's always, if you're not thinking strategically, and to think that when you took the company over around 20 agents at the time, to think that you would be, multiple states and over 100 in a relatively short period of time, it's shocking, isn't it, Christina?
It really is. When we started the company back in 2015, I never would have imagined us be as where we are now, and we have growth on the mind. We're not stopping.
I know you do. Hey, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the economy and what their concerns might be going forward. What keeps them up at night. That's what I want to talk about. And we'll continue to talk about where do they go from here. We'll see you after this break with Christina Carter Burks and Jake Carter. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I'm having a conversation with my dear friends, Christina Carter Burks and Jake Carter from Century 21, Jake Carter and Company. And, I have to be honest with you. I have a very close relationship with their father, Rick Carter. I've known them for most of their lives. And I'm very proud of what they've been able to accomplish. And, a lot of people would say if my daddy owned a casino, I don't know. I'd jump on the gravy train or whatever that looks like. But you guys learned entrepreneurship from your father. I have had many, many conversations with him over many years. And in spite of all of his success, there's still something in him that says, I haven't quite arrived yet. There's more I've got to do. There's something I got to invest in. Call it the thrill of the deal or call it need to be chasing something. I don't know what that is inside of him, but he at his core is a entrepreneur, and you can't take that out of him, can you?
No, you can't. I mean, really to understand that, you've got to know where he came from. I mean, This guy was selling Sansa belts and shirts out of the back of his trunk, traveling the state, and he has become and worked to where he is today. So us not really doing anything was never an option. Nope. We were never an option. He made sure of that, coming up, and at 18, pretty much he's like, all right, it's time to become a man. And I went to work on the ranch and was, taking care of horses and cows and doing all that. And until I figured out where it was I wanted to go. And, I owe a lot of what we are today to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What would you add to that, Christina?
Well, I say the same exact thing. After I graduated college, I went to work at the casino, and working there and hearing the stories that the people would tell me about my father and Uncle Terry, it just really set into stone, obviously we knew how amazing they are anyway, but, seeing how they treated their employees and, they treat them more like family than they do anything else. And, we took that and applied it to our company as well. They're not just independent contractors. They're not just people who go out and sell houses and stuff. They're our family. And, it's a lot of fun having a family to work with.
it's clear that you learned a work ethic from your father. What the other thing that Rick and Terry talked about is that there were a lot of failures along the way. They learned from their failures, and they, in entrepreneurship, again, entrepreneurship's not hard because the buck stops with you. And it means 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and always, searching for what the next thing is. But what Terry and Rick did is they bounced ideas off of each other, and they continued to evolve their thinking. And one thing led to another. They just waited for those breaks, whatever those breaks were, and then they seized the moment. Nothing was given to them on a silver platter. Every step of the way, they had to work their rear ends off. But it all paid off, and they learned a lot along the way, and they were able to leverage their learnings to build what is now the preeminent casino in Gulfport, one of the top casinos in coastal Mississippi. But you guys learned that. You'll learn that work ethic. And Christina, you were just talking about your family. You don't look at your real estate agents as independent contractors, but more family. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, Jake, for a second? You got over 100 now. How important is your team?
Oh man, they're everything. We've mentioned a few times in this show about our successes and what we've done, and it's nothing without the agents. Mm-hmm. We made a decision early on that we were not going to break their backs. Without agents being successful, we're not successful. So we instilled that, and we knew we had to get a good culture going, and that was easy. I mean, we've really got a good group of people. I can't say that enough. They are, when she says that word family, she doesn't take that lightly. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them, we have a relationship, and strive to keep that.
Hey, I know this from my time in media, that there's big time competition for the best salespeople, the people who produce the most. And often it's not necessarily the money that's going to attract them. They got to feel like they're part of something, something that's fulfilling to them, something, they enjoy. The relationship between the people between themselves and the people they work for or work with is really important. A lot of intangibles about that, but it is a competitive world you guys are in as it relates to real estate agents, and you got to stay on your toes to be able to retain a team as large as yours, don't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's really easy. It really boils down to the way we were raised. If you treat people right, you're humble, and you don't take advantage of anyone, people will hang around, and that's you just don't take advantage of people. So that's what we don't do that. We're very close to them all, like I said, and we've got a good thing going with them.
Hey, you okay? So the expansion over into Gulf Shores was important. As I mentioned, I knew I know Sheila Hodges, and the rental. Sheila had two. I mean, actually, she has multiple businesses, but one is the rental business that she controls a tremendous amount of inventory in the Gulf Shores, Orange Beach area. At one point it was like 25% of the inventory her company managed in Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. And then of course, then you had the real estate business. And then she's got this huge cleaners that she has. Actually, it's over in New Orleans. I was there for the grand opening of it in New Orleans, where she does commercial cleaning of for all of her rentals. And actually, I think she does some casinos as well. But very large business, very successful woman. And when I worked in Mobile, I spent a lot of time down in the Gulf Shores, Orange Beach area. In fact, we often would meet in Foley if we had some of our team coming up from there, and I was going over from Mobile. We'd meet in Foley. But it's a great area of the country. I love that part of the country. And the fact that you guys are sort of got a big footprint there now, it's got to be cool, is it?
Oh, yeah, it's exciting.
It's awesome, especially, there isn't a week that goes by that we don't get a picture of one of our signs or a billboard or something with our name on it. And, it really just makes you proud.
Yeah. But Jake, it's never, okay, let's, we can tell it like it is. When you buy a company, there's always a transition, transition in culture, transition in the processes that you use. You're evaluating team members. I mean, it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. You're taking two different companies who operate different ways, and you're trying to merge them together, and that's not always a good thing. I don't want to say that. It's not always an easy thing.
Right.
Be difficult sometimes, but hey, we've been lucky enough to have a good retention when we merged, and haven't had any issues since. But there's always a little hiccups here and there.
Well, listen, if you go look at the stats on mergers and acquisitions, a lot of them fail. A lot of them fail because people don't invest the kind of time and energy it takes to focus on creating the new culture, whatever that's going to be. A lot of companies, they go in and just try to immediately change that company, and people repel. You try to do too much change too fast, it's not good. But it would seem to me, just knowing the culture of that part of Alabama, that what you guys are bringing to the table in terms of a company that really believes in building a family, that would be a great fit for the Gulf Shores, Orange Beach area. And I bet, even though it's never super easy, I bet in hindsight, it probably has gone pretty well for you, hasn't it?
It has. I try to get over there once to twice a week. I'm actually headed over there tomorrow for the end, but I like for the end of the rest of the week. I like us being in there and showing our faces. I like for them to see us and constantly reiterate what it is we do, and that's kind of helped.
Yeah. How's business?
It's phenomenal.
Great.
It's phenomenal.
It's
I mean,
great.
you know the market. Everybody knows the market. The market is just hot. The business is better than it's ever been.
We actually had our first month this last month that every single, we do the top producers every month. We do 5 top producers every month, and we broadcast them on our social media. And last month was the first month we've had, if not ever, that every single top producer had over $1 million in sales.
It was a crazy month.
Incredible.
Unreal.
It was a crazy month last month.
Yeah, one of the things that Jordan, my son Jordan, who you know well, handles a lot of your real estate work, who's a real estate lawyer among other things. But one of the things he says to me is that the number of when you look at the closings that he's doing, the number of people who are coming from outside the area into coastal Mississippi is very significant. Is that what you guys are seeing too?
Yeah, so there's a struggle to find. I don't want to say a struggle, but there's been a lot of cash buyers into this market.
Yeah, there has.
So everybody's wondering where those cash buyers are coming from, and then when you look at it, it's places like Tennessee, Louisiana. Yeah. You've even got some coming over from Pensacola and that area. Our price per square foot is a little bit lower than what you see around this area, so they're coming here and buying.
Yeah, it's gone up. It's gone up considerably over time. I mean, I have the mayor of Pascagoula coming up here for a show, I think tomorrow, and I've had the mayor of Ocean Springs, and then multiple conversations with leaders from Bay St. Louis and Hancock County. Man, what's happening in real estate values? Down to the last conversation I had with Fofo Gillich about what's going on in downtown Biloxi is incredible. Yeah. There's not any commercial real estate available in downtown Biloxi right now. We're in the middle of a transformation, even in the midst of the inflation and recessionary worries and all that. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Christina Burks Carter and Jake Carter. See you after this. Well, by the way, before I go into that, I want to say I'm really enjoying my visit with Christina Burks Carter and Jake Carter of Century 21, Jake Carter and Company, kind of telling their story. But one of the things that is really exciting is you think about in the new economy, people can sort of choose where they want to live. And coastal Mississippi is now the most affordable waterfront community in the United States, and people see that and they're coming here, and that creates incredible opportunities. I know the Business Council has set some incredibly audacious goals about bringing new people into this community, people again who can choose to live anywhere. And then You've got you got developments that are happening, mixed use and other developments all across coastal Mississippi that are going to be bringing life back to downtown. It's going to be bringing more density to downtown so that people can live, work, and play in a similar area. That's the key to success for a community. The days of going out and getting an Ingles or gaming industry are gone. The way we're going to succeed going forward is we're going to diversify our economy by bringing people into this community who may work in other states, but they choose to live here because it's an affordable community. And that's the point y'all were making just a few minutes ago, that the price per square foot in coastal Mississippi compared to just about any other community, certainly every other coastal community, is really still very positive. So, Jake, when you think about we're seeing the Fed continuing to inch up the interest rates to deal with the inflationary situation, and of course mortgage rates will continue to go up. Does that keep you up at night? I mean, what's your concerns about this currently?
Not really. Our market has gotten so high. At some point there's got to be a little bit of a correction. I don't think we're ever going to go back to like a 2009 market. I can't see that. But we talked about it a little bit earlier about the price per square foot, and I just wanted to talk about this a little bit today. What blows my mind is back in 2018. Our average sale price was about $175,000 to $185,000. Right now, we're at $273,000 for the average sale price on the market. That is just unbelievable.
Awesome.
Over that short amount of time, we went up to $278,000. Before that, back to 2009, I think it took 10 years that it took to even get up to 175 from probably around 145. So. But no, to answer your question, it's been a seller's market for a long time, or for the past 2 years. We were going to see a correction. I think that's what these rates and the situation of the economy right now is going to do. It's going to flip it to maybe a little bit of a buyer's market. We're starting to see houses sit on the market, not a substantial amount of time, but just a little bit more. You can definitely see that trend upward. So. We're just going to have a little bit of a leveling out in the market, I hope, and I think. I'm not a political science master by any chance, so I don't know.
Well, I think, when we had the mortgage bust in 2008, there was a one fell swoop, major correction. Financial institutions went belly up, the whole 9 yards. This is not going to be like that. It's going to. It may be that, just like with tourism and so many other aspects of what we're doing, we have kind of been against the grain a little bit, and maybe the opportunities in coastal Mississippi, even though the prices may be higher and interest rates may be higher, that maybe there may be some slight slowdown, but relative to other communities, I think we're going to continue to do very well. At least that's what I'm hearing from people. And anything can change, because every day it seems like another piece of financial news is coming out that changes things. But it's just a lot of uncertainty. But I think coastal Mississippi is in a good position right now to do better than most. Is that kind of where y'all are?
Yeah, I mean, we typically are not affected like the rest of the country is, like the markets like Seattle and the big markets. We just don't get affected as bad as they are. So no, I agree with that 100%.
Christina, what keeps you up at night as it relates to your business?
Well, every day you wake up, there's something new. And the thing that keeps me up really is just keeping our agents happy. And it's not really a hard thing, because, reverting back to treating our agents as a family, we wake up, we make a phone call, how are you doing? We go in the office, how are you doing? We just need to make sure that we're keeping them happy.
We're doing
Yeah. Hey, listen, if I were you and I was going to answer the question, what keeps me up at night, it would be the same thing. It would be, am I doing everything in my power to make sure my people feel a sense of we care about them and we want them to be part of this company? I mean, that's the right thing to worry about. Were you going to add something, Jake?
It's sincere. I mean, we really do want them to we want to make sure that they're happy. At the end of the day, they are why we are successful. So that's why we do what we do. That is exactly what keeps us up.
Jake, what about the future? Where do you guys go from here?
So the plan would be, I guess now would be to close the gap from Gulf Shores to here. What that is, I don't know yet. But I mean, I see ourselves being across the Southeast. As you know, well, we love South Florida. So, hey, who knows? Maybe one day we'll be in South Florida somewhere. That would be amazing. I got my Florida broker's license for that reason.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. And just like we were just saying from your dad a few minutes ago, you there's going to be no rest for the weary as you guys figure out, how you can continue to grow this company and make it a great success. Hey, we didn't even have a chance to get into your incredible families and, what you're doing. And as it relates to that, Jake, you got a beautiful family and you got a beautiful little boy, Christina, and life goes on. Maybe next time we'll chat about some of that stuff. But it's been great to hear your story of J. Carter and Company, Century 21 J. Carter and Company, and continue to represent Coast of Mississippi well. And I hope you continue to do well with your growth strategy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate it.
It has been great. Anyway, this has been Christina Carter Burks and Jake Carter. It's been a terrific show. I've really personally enjoyed the heck out of it. So have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You too.